Next, the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Fitzgerald, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Mr. Paoletta, as many of my colleagues have noted, following the leak in the decision in the Dobbs case, there were several instances of fanatics professing anti-life views, targeting, destroying, and vandalizing numerous pro-life facilities and groups to further their political cause. I led a letter to Attorney General Garland with my colleagues from Wisconsin regarding a specific case of arson that you may or may have heard of against pro-life office in Madison, Wisconsin. 6 months later, there still has been no arrest in that case. Many people, including the head of Wisconsin Family Action, are rightfully questioning whether state and federal law enforcement are not pursuing this case simply because it was against a pro-life facility. I share the frustrations with the lack of justice in this case. And so could you answer for me, what can Congress do to shed more light on these attacks and ensure that law enforcement is doing their job diligently in these specific instances?
Congressman, I think it's very troubling that the Department of Justice has done nothing in response to all of these attacks. It's really, these attacks have been despicable. And the fact that the Department of Justice, I don't think, has done anything in response to them is truly troubling. I think Congress should have looked into it long ago, and I think perhaps in the new Congress, investigating the Department of Justice for why they didn't look into these attacks is a good use of time. And accountability. We want to talk about accountability and transparency. Let's see why the Department of Justice hasn't done anything to protect these tremendous organizations that help women who are in trouble. And you see Democrats in Congress belittling these organizations. I think I saw Senator Warren saying they were con organizations or something like that. Really just offensive comments. So that's what I would hope Congress would do in the next Congress.
Very good. Just to follow up, the Dobbs draft opinion was leaked months ago. Despite an investigation, as we know, the leaker still has not been identified. We are circulating an Accountability Act that would specifically focus on leaks, which would make it a crime to leak any of this confidential information from the Supreme Court. Do you see a path to ever finding this specific person for the leak? And then, ultimately, do you think that we can hold them accountable? I think the frustration that many members of Congress are expressing at this point is that there aren't many secrets in this town, but for some reason, this individual has certainly been sheltered, and there is absolutely, I think, evidence that there are specific people that know who this person is, and why they haven't been identified at this point is beyond me.
It was, again, a despicable act. Whoever leaked that opinion, in my view, tried to bring down the Supreme Court and the integrity and the working relationships among the justices in terms of doing their work. So I join you. I hope the leaker is found and held accountable. We could speculate all day as to who did it and how they did it. I assume that that person was careful and thought it through before they did it. I'm not sure we'll ever find that person in the near term. I hope we do, but it was a despicable act.
Very good. I have one more question for you. During the Trump administration, congressional Democrats and leftist organizations used dark money allegations to criticize the Trump administration and the Senate's success in confirming conservative judicial nominees. However, Democrats conveniently ignored their role in using dark money groups. Democrats' active role in lobbying against judicial nominees can be traced back to the partisan campaign led by then Senate Judiciary Chairman Joe Biden against the Reagan Supreme Court nominee, Judge Bork, that we're all familiar with. More recently, Demand Justice reportedly sought to spend $5 million to try and block the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh. Additionally, Amalgamated Charitable Foundation is a 501c3, and the a donor-advised fund, which is basically a charitable savings account for donors. It was created by the labor unions and Amalgamated Bank to support left-wing causes. My question would be, just to kind of sum this up, would be, is there a way of tracing this dark money and how prevalent do you think it is in the system? And as far as you can tell, why do you think that there's this double standard that exists between any times you talk about dark money on one side versus another?
Look, the First Amendment's important, and for people to be able to contribute and have their anonymity protected, and to have the free flow of exchange and sort of advocacy. But there is a wicked double standard that the Democrats, I think when you look at the amount of money that is spent on either side, I think it's Arabella advisors and all of their tentacles far exceed anything that the conservatives or I don't know that for sure, but I think that's right. So it's a double standard. I'm not.
Gentleman's time has expired. If you would just wrap up.
It's a double standard.
Thank you. We will now go to the gentleman from California, Representative Swalwell.